Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're going to create a flow that does a roll-up summary of the activity on a lead where the lead owner, matches the activity. So here you can see there's activity logged by myself, and there's also activity logged by another user. In this flow, we only want to count the activity that was created by the lead owner. And some of these steps, if you just wanted a roll-up summary of all of the activity, you can eliminate some of the steps or the filter criteria that we create. But in this example, we're only capturing the number of activities that are created by the owner of the lead. So let's get started. We're going to go over to setup, and we're going to create a field on the lead in which the roll-up summary is going to populate once the flow runs. So we'll go to Object Manager, and we're going to type up here lead. And then from lead, we're going to select fields and relationships, create new. We're going to select a number field. We don't want any decimal places, and do number of owned activities. You can name it whatever you like. We'll select next, and we're going to just add it to the page layout so that when we're showing this example later on, we can see it populate. We are going to create our flow now. So we are going to put flow in the quick find box, select flows. And then we are going to go and click new flow. For this flow that we are going to create, we want to make it a scheduled triggered flow. Basically, we just want it to auto launch at the end of the day and to roll up those tasks that happened throughout the day. We don't need this to trigger on every completed activity during the day. Again, the ask wasn't for this to be in real time. We're just going to have it go at the end of the day. We are going to click create, and then we're going to set our schedule. So we want it to start today. The time that we are going to have this start at is 7 p.m. You can select whatever time, ideally in the evening or early morning when your users are not on Salesforce, if you're trying to have the right accurate roll-up summary at the end of the day. We are going to do daily, so we want this to occur on a daily basis. We also want this to be only for the lead object. So we're going to select lead. And then the criteria, we just are going to have this run flows for all leads. This is particularly helpful if you have a lot of leads in Salesforce and you have all of this historical tasks that are already in there in which you would like to capture that information where an owned of the lead owner and the activities to get that activity count. So that's why we're also running this as a scheduled flow, because it's going to take place on all of the leads. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to get records. So we need to get the task record of, did that not save quickly? Yes, it did. So we are going to go and get owned activity, get owned activity. We are going to select the task object. And then we have some conditions that need to be met. So we want the owner ID of the task, so the assigned to, we want it to equal the record owner ID. We also want to make sure it is a completed task. We really don't care about tasks that haven't been completed yet. And then the final thing is we want to make sure that this is going to run on all leads, that the task that is created corresponds to the correct lead in which this is running from. So perfect. And then we want all the records. So we want all of the task records that are connected to that lead object. And then really we only want to, we have a few fields that we'd like to choose in which we want that to be stored. So the ID and the owner ID. Okay. So the next thing that we are going to do is we want to loop through these activities. So we are going to create a collection variable. So from here, we are going to click here and put loop. Because we are over here, we're storing all records, we need to sort through which ones should be rolled up to that field. So loop through activities. Again, you can name these labels whatever you want. We are doing a collection variable, so get owned activity. We're gonna do the first one and click done. So the next thing that we are going to do is we are going to create an assignment. So this is essentially creating that count that we are going to put in that field at the end. So think of it as, summing all of those activities as they loop through this flow to get that count. So we're going to label this count activities. The variable that we want is activity. We're just going to quickly create, sorry, I forgot this step, a new resource variable activity count, and then we're going to select number. We don't want any decimal places with this either because there shouldn't be. We wanted to do, and our default value is 0. We'll click done. So now that we've got our resource, so basically where that information is going to be stored, and then we want it to start counting the tasks from get owned activity, and we'll click done. So the next thing after that, after it's starting to, loop through and count the number of activities where the lead owner is the same as the task owner, in which it corresponds to that lead, we are going to go and then update that lead with that field that we had created from before. So update records. We'll create a label of update lead. And then none always update record, and then the number of owned activities. That activity count that we created that variable for before will now flow into that field that we created on the lead. So that is the flow in a nutshell. And now we're going to go and we're going to save this real quick. You can label this whatever you want, or just do lead owned activity count and click save. And we will activate this. Now, this will run at our time, at 7 p.m. our time. So that time is the time in which is also on your company page, so your Salesforce company time. So let's go see what that time is, so that you have a kind of an understanding of when this flow would run. We're going to type company, and we'll go to company information. So the time for this sandbox is Eastern Standard Time. So it would be 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in which that flow would run. Now, we're not actually in that time zone, so I'm going to go and adjust that flow so that we can, finish this video up a bit quicker. In the meantime, I'm going to also walk you through what we should expect to see in that field. So the field has been added to, we're just going to refresh this page. The field has been added to the page layout. And in this case, we have 2 tasks that were created on this lead. So if our roll-up summary flow does what it's supposed to do, it really should just show a number of 1, because the lead owner is myself, and this is the only task that I created and completed for this lead, so that value should be 1. You'll see down here, where is that field? We've added it to the page layout. That does not necessarily mean that it was added to this record page. So we're going to just quickly go over here and edit the page and add it as well, because I don't see that field that we just created on here. Oh, there it is. It's now, perhaps it was there before and I just missed it, or it's decided to appear under annual revenue. So in some cases, if you add something to a page layout, if you have dynamic components on here that you can switch out the fields, it might not necessarily show up on this page layout. So that's something else to know. So I'm going to pause this video and come back as we wait for the flow to run at that 7 p.m. time. Now, when we go back to our lead, Kathy here, you can still see we have our 2 tasks that were created, one by the lead owner and one by another user. So since the flow was scheduled, it has since ran, and you'll go to the details tab where we have the number of owned activities and it equals 1. So right there, you can see that one of the activities that were logged against this lead was owned by the lead owner, and then the other activity wasn't, so there is no roll-up summary for that activity. So 1 is correct. So that is how this flow operates, in essentially giving you that roll-up summary of the number of activities that are owned by the lead owner. So hopefully you've liked this video, so please like and subscribe. Thanks.